In this video, we're going to put all of our detailed drawings for the cable pulley base assembly onto a drawing sheet. So we'll do File, New. Now we're going to standard metric mode, but we're going to be careful about what we choose for our drawing type. What we want to use is this ANSI millimeter drawing. There's a lot of other types of drawing files, but let's do an ANSI millimeter drawing. And that'll still give us standard size ANSI papers. And in this case, if we're going to put all these details on it, we are going to use a C size piece of paper. Go C size. Okay, so individually then we'll put our details on here. So go to base and then find, we're going to have to search through our files and find, let's start with that base since it's the largest one. And that's the perfect front view. And I'm going to try to put this down here in the corner. Front view, top view, right side, and then my ISO. And I do need to turn on my hidden lines. So that should work. Let's see if we can fit our other pieces on here. So let's go to a new base, only this time. Let's see, we're going to do, let's do the pulley next. Not a good front view. Let me try that again. Let me just rotate that. That looks better. That's a better front view. And you end up with this situation where the top view and the right side are the same view. Let's just delete that top view. And so far I've got everything on here 1:1 scale. I think I can make this work. It's going to be a little tight. Should be alright, especially since I only got 2 views for that. And then the shaft is last. And that's a good front view. We do need to scale that down. Let's stick with the 1:1 scale. Top view and the front are the same. Let's just delete that top view. So we should be fine in terms of dimensioning and everything on here. This one will be maybe a little tight, but let's see what we can do with it. I think you can fit all your dimensions. Go ahead and add all your center lines, center marks. We're going to want to label all of these views. So let's just go ahead and get started. Sometimes I forget to do that. So this is going to be the base, and it is part number 285001. I like to center those. If you highlight that and come up here and click on center justification, and that's going to be kind of small too, so let's bump the size up. It's the default is 3.05. Let's just double the size of that. You want it to be easy to see. And everything we add takes up space, so we gotta have to be kind of careful here. So let's copy that for our others instead of recreating that. One there, and then we'll just go in, double click, and edit the name and the part number. Since we already have the size set up, we got the format. And likewise for the shaft. Okay, so yeah, space is going to be at a premium here definitely, but we should be able to make this work. Let's go ahead and add our center lines to everything. I'm going to need to turn on my hidden lines there. I'll come back to that. Center marks. Let's go ahead and turn those hidden lines on. If I get those done early in the process, then I tend to not forget them. Okay, and just fit all your dimensions on there the best you can. One thing about, you're going to have a little bit of an issue here because you need this diameter here, and that view is showing those as hidden lines. So I probably would recommend, let's delete that view. Let's add a section view. So remember, you click in the box of the view and then find the, for example, I want to do a line through here. So just find like a point above the top of the part, click it, come down and find a point below the bottom of the part, click it, right click, say continue, and then just move your cursor over, and that'll create the section view. And the reason I'm doing that is because now I got a really convenient place to call out these dimensions. Now I want you to notice something. I've got 2 decimal points just because that's a default. You have to remember the size of a millimeter. A millimeter is incredibly small. There's 25.4 millimeters per inch. So when you call out decimals on dimensions and it's in millimeters, you're calling out an extreme amount of accuracy. If you look at this part, it doesn't have any tolerances on it, typical for the way we're drawing right now. But also there are no decimal dimensions, and we want to fix that. So don't forget to do that. If you give someone a drawing that's in millimeters and you have 2 decimals, you're telling them it is an extremely accurate part, which is going to make the part really expensive, and that's probably unnecessary for this casting in particular, for any of these parts, I think. So what you want to do is go up to Manage, Styles Editor. It may take a second, and let's see, let's look here and see what we want to use for dimension style is this default millimeter ANSI, and then it's in the millimeters. Here's your precision. We're going to turn the precision to 0, so it'll have no decimal places. So that's how you want to dimension this drawing. Now every drawing is different. In this case, that's what we want to do. So I'm going to have that re-put in that center mark, and by adding the section view also I give myself some really good places to dimension. Now if you'll notice on these metric drawings, it makes the dimensions vertical. We've talked about that in class. It's really not the way we like to dimension when we're doing an inch drawing, but that's the way they do it in a metric drawing. So we just have to go with it. Let's see, and I could put another dimension on that. It's going to be a radius. Okay, so we got a lot of dimensions on that section view. And I think you can fit the rest of your dimensions on this drawing without too much problem. Now there's all those fillets, so what I would tell you to do is make a note on here. And that way you don't have to dimension each and every one of those. Oops, that's pretty small of a note. Oops, let's hit that again. Let's highlight that and bump that text size up. And the reality is that works for this drawing too, so I can just leave it the way it is right there. That's good. Okay, on this one, I don't think there's anything special you need to do. Just standard dimensions. This part's pretty easy. There's not a ton of stuff happening here. Probably would put center marks on there. And it might be kind of obvious, but let's put that dimension. We'll need that radius there. You will also need to call out radius on that fillet. And we have an overall. So that part's pretty simple to dimension. This part, likewise, it's very simple part, doesn't have much going on. You will want to call out that chamfer. Do that, click on the two surfaces, that angled surface and either this one or this one, and it'll give you that note. One thing I don't like about that is it takes up a lot of space. You don't really have to have the word chamfer on there. And then we're going to put 2x. Now it might seem like, holy cow, 2x times 2. Oops, I left the space in there. I should have put a space there, sorry. So it says 2 fillets that are 2 millimeters and they're 45 degrees. Okay, so I'll leave you to dimensioning all the features on that. On the title block, in the title block, what we're going to do is put BLE cable pulley details and call out the part numbers that are shown on this particular sheet. And you want to put your name on there, of course. But spell your name right would be a good idea. And as far as when you save this, save it as something like a new number. We use 001, 0002, 003, etc. Let's give it a new, let's call it like 1001. And say cannot type today, okay. Pulley details. Okay, so really it should look just like that, except I want you to obviously finish the dimensions on there. Everything else is pretty straightforward. So that'll be your detail drawing.